All right, today we're going to dive into one of the absolute strangest and most intense rituals you can find in the Old Testament. It's this high-stakes trial by ordeal, and it was designed to reveal a truth that no witness could ever see.
So let's start with this. This is a verse from the Bible, from the book of Numbers. Now, if you just read it on its own, it sounds, well, weird, right? It's a promise of children, but it's framed as an alternative to something terrible.
And that's the real head-scratcher here. It's a pretty jarring question. I mean, what situation could possibly lead to a woman's fertility being the subject of a legal or even a divine ruling? That is the exact mystery we're going to unravel today.
To figure this out, we have to understand that this verse isn't just some standalone promise. No, it's the final piece of a much larger and, frankly, a much more bizarre puzzle.
You see, this wasn't just some old saying. This was the verdict. It was the very last line in a formal procedure that would determine a woman's entire fate, her reputation, her future, all of it, based on a sign from God. So what on earth could require such a drastic measure? Well, it all comes from a legal concept in the book of Numbers, known as the law of jealousy.
And this right here gets to the core of the problem the law was trying to solve. What do you do when an accusation is literally impossible to prove? Ancient Israel's answer was a trial that completely bypassed the need for human evidence.
Now, the key thing to get here is that the husband's suspicion alone was enough to kick off this whole formal process. He didn't need any witnesses, he didn't need any proof at all. The law was there to provide a final, definitive resolution to that corrosive uncertainty that could just poison a marriage and the whole community.
Okay, so this brings us to the ritual itself. It's a process so dramatic it was actually known as the trial by bitter water. Let's walk through exactly how this worked.
So, it was a four-step public ordeal. First, the husband makes the accusation official. He brings his wife to the priest. Then, the priest prepares this special mixture. After that, the woman has to swear a solemn oath right there before God that she is innocent. And then finally comes the moment of truth. She has to drink it.
But here's the thing, this so-called bitter water, it wasn't actually poison. Its power was all symbolic. It was holy water, and it was mixed with dust from the floor of the sacred tabernacle, the absolute center of their religious life. So this mixture was this potent combination of the sacred and the earthly.
And yeah, it had a pretty chilling name. This wasn't just a test. It was believed to be an active agent of divine judgment. Its entire purpose was to bring a curse to life, but only if that curse was deserved.
Okay, so this all leads to the big moment, the dramatic climax of the entire ritual. After the woman drank the water, everybody would just wait for the divine verdict, which was supposed to show up physically in one of two ways.
And wow, the outcomes could not be more different. If she was guilty, the text says a curse would take effect. Her body would swell up, she'd become barren, a total public disgrace. But if she was innocent, absolutely nothing would happen. She'd be completely unharmed, her purity would be proven, and she was promised the ability to have children.
So what this makes really clear is that this was a classic trial by ordeal. The belief wasn't that the water itself was magical. The belief was that God would intervene directly, either causing a curse on the guilty or actively protecting the innocent. God, not the water, was the ultimate judge here.
And that, right there, brings us full circle. We can finally understand what that strange verse we started with was all about. Let's put it all together now. So let's go back to that line from the very beginning. Now that we have the full context of this incredible trial, it's about to make perfect sense.
You see, when the text says that if she is pure, she will have children, it's not a random statement at all. It is the official, positive verdict of the entire trial.
I mean, this one phrase, it was everything. It was God's confirmation that she was innocent. It was public vindication, clearing her name in front of everybody. And on top of all that, it was a blessing, a promise of fertility to reaffirm her standing and her favor with God.
And that's the final piece of the puzzle, right? In that culture, the ability to have children was seen as the ultimate divine gift. It was a sign of favor. So for a woman who was innocent and had to endure this terrifying ordeal, the promise of fertility was the most powerful way imaginable to declare her pure and blessed by God.
So this whole ancient ritual, as bizarre as it sounds to us now, was really a society's attempt to solve a problem that is, well, timeless. When there's no evidence, no witnesses, and no confession, how do you find justice? And what does it say about us that we're still asking that very same question today?